Hello, everyone. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for the Prominent Speaker online series with Ron Tan, Executive Chairman and Group CEO of Cityneon Holdings. I'm Thiru from the National Library, and I'll be the MC this evening. Ron Tan is Executive Chairman and Group CEO of Cityneon, a global experience entertainment company which has footprints in more than 54 cities and counting. From a local electrical store to a global company of market capitalization exceeding 1 billion, Cityneon has grown from strength to strength over the years. Ron is also CEO and President of Victory Hill Exhibitions, a wholly owned subsidiary of Cityneon Holdings. He has also spearheaded partnerships with international studios such as Disney, Marvel, Hasbro, Universal, Lionsgate, and 20th Century, and also partnered governments for 2 original artifacts IP, Ancient Civilizations Machu Picchu from Peru and Ramses the Great from Egypt, to provide impactful and immersive experiences to visitors all over the world all year round. A visionary leader, he's always at the forefront of innovation and innovating new and unique revenue streams to grow these billion-dollar brands globally. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Ron Tan.
Thank you for the introduction. Hi everyone, my name is Ron Tan, Executive Chairman and Group CEO of Cityneon Holdings. Thank you so much spending your Friday evening with me. Now, I was just earlier with the folks over at NLB, and so they were saying that we can keep this interactive, and I actually prefer that, right? Because it's very difficult for me to be speaking to the screen myself and for the next 30-40 minutes. So I will share a little bit of who Cityneon is, what we are, and where we are going towards. And if you guys have any questions, please just feel free to ask, and I will just answer those questions even in the midst of the presentation. Yeah, I cannot see any one of you at all. I can only see myself and a couple of other staff first from NLB, and of course my support staff. So when Thiru mentioned Machu Picchu, mentioned the Egyptian Ramses, it actually just pinched me and hurt me a little bit, right? Because I've never been to Peru my entire life. And we were supposed to have a signing ceremony at Peru, Machu Picchu. You guys know Machu Picchu, yeah? So Machu Picchu only allowed up to 1 million visitors a year globally to visit. And then as of last year, as of this year, in fact, only 250,000 people are allowed to visit in a single year because of COVID. And yet the Peruvian government actually allowed our team to fly a drone across the entire Machu Picchu. So we actually already captured it in our VR, and we are creating the entire VR experience. That is going to come out in, when it's Florida, right? Boca Raton, Florida, in October of this year. And that is what we call our second artifact. And that is going to be followed by our Ramses II artifacts, 181 pieces of original artifacts with the Egyptian government. I spent about 5 years just to work on this deal. And finally, the Egyptian government approved the deal, and we are opening in Houston in November of this year. In fact, 4 cities subsequently has already confirmed. After Houston, we're moving that to San Francisco in 2022. Later part of 22, we're going to Paris, and then in 23, we're going to Sydney. If you were to ask me, it's actually pretty amazing. Thiru, you mentioned it, right? The company Cityneon started off in 1956 as an electrical company many years ago. And that was the reason why, and it's still the reason why the name Cityneon, right? Light up the city with neon lights. But then subsequently, 1971, they started to get into, I use the word they, because I only get involved in the company about 2014. Started to get into the exhibitions, the trade exhibitions industry. So my company, myself, I got involved with Cityneon back in 2014. And it has been a pretty wild ride. And last year especially, I think you guys are in the same space as I am, right? In the same country. Last year was probably one of the scariest year of my entire business life, entrepreneurship life. And circuit breaker, You just woke up the next day, your revenue becomes a big fat zero. Cities after cities, countries after countries, and yet all the costs, the costs are there too, right? You need to pay salaries to every single one of your staff because everyone has a family to go back to. But that was scary, and I've never walked so much in my entire life during the circuit breaker with masks. So I still wear mask. So I remember walking for kilometers and kilometers of walking during those 2 months-ish of circuit breaker. And you have to make very tough decisions. And we made very tough decisions. And now on hindsight, like I always say, I mean, if you're my staff members, you will definitely have heard this from me, that in life, there's no right or wrong decisions. It's just consequences to deal with, right? So at that point in time, we just had to make really very difficult decisions. We froze all capex spend from tens of millions of dollars that we planned to spend last year. We froze it to zero, big fat zero. Unfortunately, we also have to let go of some staff globally. We had to take a huge pay cut, starting for myself, of course, and then the senior management team, myself, and then subsequently the rest of the team members. It was scary. But interestingly, also at the same time, sometime in July, the market just recovered so fast for us, especially in China. And that recovery was so steep and so swift that that I couldn't even believe it. And this year is all about US. So we just opened one of our experiences in US. And this year's recovery in US, again, is so fast, even faster than what we experienced over in China. So one thing that I learned also through this episode is you just got to be really quick, right? When in times of crisis, you just cannot drag on. And I had a town hall like what I'm doing right now with you guys, talk to the team members. I mean, I told them too that, the guys that managed to keep your job, you don't have to thank me. You got to thank those people who actually left because of you, so that we all have a job still, right? It was very difficult. But if we didn't do that, then I don't even believe that I can be sitting here talking to you guys. So Cityneon today, we Thiru mentioned, we were last valued at in excess of over $1 billion. And also because of the crisis last year, the COVID crisis, I told the team that let's get out there to shore up our balance sheet, to raise money, in fact, we were targeting to raise about $100 million. But wow, I mean, we're so blessed. The total order books that came in was in excess of 400 million. So what we did is we brought in very strong shareholders. We have two Temasek entities, one Pavilion Capital, CTAL. We also brought in even an investor from Middle East, the Qatari government. So who spent $40 million in our company, now own about 3 or 4% of the company. And we brought in subsequently also other high net worth investors and institutions to really shore us up. In net, we raised about $235 million into the company, getting ready for the company for the next stage. And of course, our other existing shareholders, you guys might know, include Sovereign Wealth Fund, City Capital, who is based out of Hong Kong and China, a state-owned fund. And interestingly, in fact, we are owned by the Chinese, the Middle Eastern, Qatari, and also Singapore. EDB is also one of our shareholders. So we have a pretty good set of shareholders other than myself, and of course, my other partner in Hong Kong, Mr. Johnson Koh, a very strong 72-year-old gentleman. And so we formed that shareholders group. So today at Cityneon, we really have what we call IP verticals. So we are the world largest. I mean, if you look at the back of my screen, just now the NLB stuff actually say I have a very, very nice background. One of the nicest they were telling me, which makes me feel a little bit sad. I mean, the foreground is not better than the background, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So you can see all the figurines at the back, right? So we are today the world largest. EY Partner did the study. So they have categorized us as the world largest IP experiences services provider. So what does that mean? So today we work with 6 movie studios, Hollywood studios globally, Disney, Marvel, Hasbro, Universal, Who else do we work with? Lionsgate, and the last one is 20th Century Studios, which owns Avatar. So in our hands are 5 strong IPs. Marvel, you guys definitely know Marvel, is that the back? Transformer, and Hunger Games, Jurassic World, and soon to open Avatar. So we take the brands from all these 5 Hollywood studios, and they are all multi-billion dollars. You guys know how much Disney is owned, right? One Disney is all our listed company in Singapore added up together, about one third. So imagine that we, a Singapore-based company, despite the fact that we have over 500 employees globally, a Singapore-based company work with the likes of all these studios, signing up an exclusive license. We take their brands and then we created experiences around the brand, and then we took it to all different parts of the world. So today we have traveled to about 50 over cities. Thiru mentioned that. And soon to be, I think this year we probably will cross 60, and soon to be we will hit about 70 odd cities, and so on and so forth. So we took their brands, and then through our own creative, we created experiences around this brand, and then we display these experiences to audiences globally. And you will see 2 more new IPs coming up at the end of this year. I cannot share with you guys what those are, but those are big IPs, right? So there are basically 2 basic criteria, or 3 basic criteria. No science behind this. It's all internal criteria. The first one is those movies must be, the performance of those movies, IPs, must be in excess of $1 billion globally. Then I know that there's a global demand. 2, those movie IPs should preferably have what we call prequels or sequels. Then I know there's sustainable demand. And then the 3rd basic criteria is the studios must also allow us to scale it. Like I started off with just one Avengers station many years ago, one Avengers station in New York. And if you were to ask me, would I do it again? I probably have to pause and think about it. It was painful. I mean, it's all blessing. I mean, there's no way that it's humanly impossible. It's just humanly impossible for us to be where we are today from where we were before. So from one single exhibition set with Marvel, then just one single set, very limited territory, very limited contract to where we are today. I don't even know how to look back. I couldn't even chart this journey or imagine where we are today. So we have 2 more new IPs coming up, and been to 50 odd cities really with all these IPs. Now that is what we call the Hollywood IP verticals. The second vertical is really the artifacts, original artifacts verticals. So you guys heard with the Peruvian government, Machu Picchu. You heard also with the Egyptian government, 183 pieces of the original artifacts, Ramses II, the oldest pharaoh, 91 years old. So we are bringing out 181 pieces of the Egyptian treasures that is worth $1 billion. So when we return those artifacts, we're going to make sure that all the fingers are intact. Most likely the fingers are intact. So all the fingers and the nose all have to go back in original shape. So all these are heavily insured. And like I told you, that is really all 4 cities all confirmed. So most likely we will confirm all the way to 2027. So those are very precious artifacts that we managed to sign on. You will see 3 more new, in fact 4 more new artifacts, original artifacts coming through by the end of this year. So my plan is also to build this company to be the world largest when it comes to the original artifacts experiences. Then we also have what we call the 3rd new vertical, which is the gaming vertical, e-gaming. And we're already talking to a really large company over in China. And hopefully that should be done by the end of this year. So why are we doing this? I mean, look at all this, what we call the verticals, right? The Hollywood IP verticals addresses what we call the family demographics. The second verticals, original artifacts, address probably the culturally inclined, probably middle, upper, higher income group of demographics. And the third one addresses the millennial artifacts. And this are our demographics globally. And probably like this platform that I'm talking to right now, I think before that I received from my team a mixed demographic of students, we have entrepreneurs, we have business, we have my staff. So they're quite a good mix of different group of people. The plan is for us to get 10 million unique visitors globally. in terms of different demographics, globally, different geographies. Over a period of about 10 years, we would have built this up to 100, 150, 200 million, I don't know, unique visitorship, unique data that belongs to Cityneon. Think Netflix. Netflix today has about 200. I think down to about 180. That's why the stocks is not performing that well. Disney Plus, when they launched, about 80 million. A Singapore-based company today, despite the fact that we're Singapore headquartered, but we have multiple headquarters globally, Singapore headquarters, and you will see us being a company having the 150, 200 million unique visitorship, visitors data, demographics globally that has been through a Cityneon experience. And it's all about putting what I call context into a content. Look, I mean, this is a beautiful cup. And even if I were to tell you that this cup is used by the Qing Emperor, I mean, you might appreciate it. But even if you were to look at it, it's still a cup, right? A cup is a cup is a cup. Until if you were to able to put a certain context into the content and explain the cup to the end user, and that is really what we come in. And we make use of technology to explain the content. The Iron Man is, we display the Iron Man, and you can actually become an Iron Man in our experience. And then you will take the photos, and then you will, of course, post it. And bear in mind, when I started the business, the partners that I work with don't even allow you to take a photograph in the experience. Why? Because they're so worried that at the end of the day, at the end of the exhibition, at the end of the experience, you might not want to buy photo. But how the world has changed. Today, if you don't allow people to take photo, you think you will spend money to walk through an experience? You won't. So that's why anything that seems to be right today might not be right later on. So people always say think out of the box. I think the best thing is don't think with the box. There's no box. that will be exciting, right? So try to shape the rule. Try to shape the rule, because if you cannot able to do that, then I think the world is oyster. So for me, when I first started this business, you know, I mean, Singapore is such a comfortable place, but Singapore is also a very, very small market, right? I mean, we have real Singaporean 2 over million people, population base 4-5 million, but it's usually hollowed out, right? I mean, you guys know, weekdays you try to go to the airport, Friday is always, now it's quiet. But other than that, every Friday when you come back, everyone wants to rush back and come back for the weekend, you will see busy airport. But right, so to me, Singapore is a very small market. So if you have any plans to start a business, think big. Think big from day one. Think global. Think big, think of yourself being number one in the whole world. Today we are number one when it comes to the Hollywood IP. So it's an exciting journey. We acquired the company. We acquired that animatronics company. If you guys have time, do go to our website, look at Animax. So that one is animatronics. And what I truly want to do is, even for the animatronics, something I mark my words and watch what I just said too, because what we will do is that I also want to build this company into the world's largest, and I want to lay claim to the word entertainment robotics. There are logistic robotics, there are engineering robotics, but what I really want to do is to make sure that we, Cityneon, together with Animax, is the largest entertainment robotic company in the whole world. What is entertainment robotic? You think about it, you think Spider-Man. I mean, today, if you were to see a Spider-Man with a suit, right, and he were to fly it around, most likely he will have a harness and with a safety net at the bottom. Now, imagine if I were to able to produce a Spider-Man that can hit onto the wall, drop onto the floor, and can still stand up alive still. Robots. What we want to do is to change the way that you experience entertainment, live entertainment, making use of robots. Circus. Circus is a big problem. So someone in US asked us to produce 4 elephants, animatronics elephant. But why would I want to do that? I want the whole circus to be of animatronics, to be of robotics. Then you can probably even look at an aquarium, a shark. That is a robot that you won't even know is a robot. That is what we want to do. Entertainment experience, and we are hiring, by the way. So if you guys want, just write to my HR and go to the link and reach out to us. You must reach out to us. We have offices globally. We have 500 over people in China, in Qatar. The Qatar government gave us 150,000 square feet of land, and I don't even know what to put there. And they keep asking us to go there. I will go during the World Cup next year. And Singapore, definitely we're hiring here. And in US. So if you guys have any interest, do let us know.
So every time, I really like what Mr. Lee, the late Lee Kuan Yew, he always said, right? Every day he wakes up, he's always just so paranoid about Singapore because of our sheer size. I feel the same. Every day I'm just paranoid about our company. I mean, when I was a $30 million company, I'm paranoid. When I'm a $100 million company, I'm still paranoid. When I took the company private at $300 million, I'm paranoid that we don't have enough money to pay the salary. Then when we last raised fund at 600 million, when City came in, I'm still paranoid that we are still too small. Now we are about in excess of 1 billion. I'm still very paranoid that other people are bigger than us. I think that it's good to be paranoid, but don't be suspicious, overly suspicious. But it's good to be paranoid, and it's good to always don't watch your back. Don't watch your back. I mean, if you keep on watching your back, you cannot move forward. One day you will sure tumble and fall. Always keep going. But when occasionally you turn back and see where your so-called competitors are, but stay ahead, be daring, and stay ahead of everyone else. So yeah, my monologue of 20 minutes. I saw quite a couple of questions that came in. I actually wanted to read. I thought I can, but I cannot because I just kept going, right? Any interesting questions, Tiru?
Yes, we do. The questions are all coming in fast and furious, I must say. Okay, so first one, we have question. Hey Ron, I'm from China. I have recently visited one of your exhibition in Guangzhou and the Jurassic World exhibition. So it was amazing.
Thank you.
So during the pandemic, I would like to know, how do you view this experience industry during this pandemic? And because as this pandemic could last for years, according to some experts.
Yeah, well, look, first thing first, thank you so much. and sorry, who's the person again? Do you have a name?
No, I do not have a name at this point.
Vincent, thank you, Vincent. I think it's Vincent. Thank you, Vincent.
Okay, right.
I mean, thank you so much for visiting our experience in Guangzhou. And when I started this business, people always tell me, Ron, you must be crazy. No one spends this kind of money. People will spend $2 million to produce one exhibition of 15,000 square feet of space. For us, one dinosaur cost me US $2 million. One. And our dinosaurs, there are a lot of dinosaurs in the whole world, including our East Coast Park, but ours is not the East Coast Park dinosaurs. If you have a chance again, go to our YouTube and you will understand what I meant. So thank you so much, because that is really the who we are, the DNA of this company. Never shortchange your customers with sleep shop experiences. Don't worry about spending money in delivering top experiences to your customers. People are not stupid. And every one of us has 2,742 things to do in a single day. Why would they want to come to your experience? I always tell the team too, our experience is at most a good to have product. We are not a need to have. A need to have means that when it's there, you have to go. If you don't go, the people will be laughing at you. Or a must have. A must have is like water, right? We must have. So we are just a good to have. How do you move your good to have to the need to have? That is always the challenge that I set for the team. And I mean, if you know, say Mona Lisa, you're going to go to the Louvre right now. Maybe you can, but you come back, you quarantine 21 days. But if you cannot go to the Louvre, what if I can bring the Louvre to you? We are talking the Louvre right now. If I can bring 150 pieces of the master collections from the Louvre to this country, you need to go. So that is the need to have. So that is what we are trying to do. I'm sorry, the question is, okay, sorry. When it comes to COVID, I don't like to use the word, but to a very great extent, we are actually the beneficiary of the circumstance. COVID killed so many of my entertainment peers. You guys might know that we have quite a sizable presence in Las Vegas as a semi-permanent location. For the past 4 months, our Las Vegas visitors numbers, not COVID, visitors numbers are at record high, higher every single day than our pre-COVID numbers. Why? In Las Vegas, then no more Celine Dion, she cannot perform. No more Cirque du Soleil, they cannot perform. Only we open. Because our experiences is 30,000 square feet. And we open for 8 to 10 hours. We can control the crowd into that 30,000 square feet by sending in batches, wearing masks, and maintaining that social distance. And China is very strict. And I respect all the regulations because everyone wants this pandemic to become endemic, right? So I think it will get there. So Guangzhou just went through incidents of start-stop. So we actually closed for a little bit, but right now we reopened and visitors started to come in. Same goes for Chengdu. Chengdu, we had another record weekend last weekend, and but again, cases are also creeping up over in China. So stay nimble. And the good thing about us is our operation cost is also low. None of our dinosaurs ever complain when we ask them to do overtime, 10th or 11th hour. No one needed to travel business class either, and there's no quarrels amongst them. So for us, our operation cost is so low, even when we close, for that COVID period, we don't have mouths to feed, only our own back-end staff. So those helped us a lot. In fact, this year is going to be our record profit year, and next year will be even stronger. So thank you again, Vincent, for visiting our Guangzhou. We are opening in Shanghai. You can also go Shanghai in August, next week, right? August the 3rd. I think typhoon just hit Shanghai. Yeah. Thanks, you.
Okay, so we have a next question from Desmond Tan. Do you plan to obtain IP from Chinese brands in future?
Yes, but again, when I bring the artifacts in, I want to be able to create context into the content, so that when the like our Ramses II, we have this huge table that show the famous battle of Kadesh, interactive battle of Kadesh on that table. And I told you about the VR for the very first time that we flew through Machu Picchu. You cannot go there, never mind, we bring you there. And the chair is coming to my office very soon. And then I told you too that for the very first time, people get to visit the inside of Ramses II tomb, again, via us. Because not many people in our whole entire life will go to all these different places. So yes, we are looking at some Chinese brand, but as of right now, it's more a bandwidth issue. Everything is global. And Americans are way stronger when it comes to marketing their own IP as compared to the Chinese. Unfortunately, I'm Chinese, but unfortunately, that's life. That's life.
Okay, so we have another question from Derek. This is more about your childhood. So how was your childhood? What are your favorite books? And, you know, maybe you can share a bit about your family and your weekend activities.
I'm a playful kid, so I active, playful, and if you know, I mean, the world that we live in today compared to the world that we lived in the past is very different, right? And like we don't have doctors, we don't have a lot of people that are able to diagnose a lot of things in you. To be honest with you, I feel that if I have attention span of mosquito, by the way, if the medical system then was as established as it is today, I probably will be diagnosed as having attention deficit. So, like I say, what is attention deficit? What is abnormal? I mean, I don't know what is abnormal, to be honest with you. The abnormality is only because the majorities are so-called normal. It's not right. I feel it's not right. I think everyone is a gift from God. So we cannot assume that we are normal, you know what I mean.
Okay, sure. So what is your leadership policy and style? From Derek too. Yeah.
I you know, this 1.5, I've not traveled for my last trip was actually in Chengdu, then Hong Kong. I cannot remember, sometime in February last year. So I've not traveled for what, good 17 months-ish, 16, 17 months. And yet, with my absence, we just reopened in Toronto, we opened in Chengdu, we opened in Shanghai, we opened in Guangzhou, we opened in Xi'an, we opened in Huizhou, we opened in Dallas, and Vegas continue to open. In Korea, I think it's insane. I think it's insane that everything just seems to still run at its own speed and without me going to any of these places. I used to think that I'm quite indispensable. I have to go, but I'm wrong. I actually have such a strong team. I actually have so good people everywhere in the world. It's very multicultural. So if you have a chance, again, just go to our website. You will see that actually the management team, I'm actually a minority. So we have a Dutch guy, a Dutch CFO, And my creative director is a lovely Bobby Altido. It was from Cirque du Soleil before, from Montreal, Canada. He moved into Singapore during June of last year, during COVID, by the way. Now the whole family is here. So, and we have Americans, of course, previously from SeaWorld as my technical director, chief operating officer. And these guys travel during COVID. These guys are all traveling. And then I have guys who went to Korea, they stayed 14 days. And 14 days, but not bad, I got hired. 14 days being quarantined and everyday Korean food. And then after that, open our show over at Gimpo. So I am actually quite particular about certain aspects of things that affect us corporately. But in most of the other aspects, I think we have a very strong, mature team that are able to execute on their own. So I think in life, like I say, we have 2,722 things a day to do, right? We got to really stay really focused to work on the things as a CEO, as a chairman, that truly move the needle. We got to rise above that noise because, again, there's just so many things that will come to your attention. You got to just stay above that noise, truly stay above that noise. That's why I love eagles. I'm trying to look for one large eagle statue. I really love eagles. Why? You guys know why? Do you know when it rains, eagle doesn't get wet? Why? Why does eagle not get wet when it rains? You see all the other birds, sparrows, parrots, they all were hide under a tree. Why? So they don't want to move, right? So when it rains, eagles just fly above the cloud. Because the clouds, once you go over the cloud, you don't have to be subject to rain. So sometimes, as a leader, you try to go up there. You try to go up there so that you don't get wet. There's so many noises, so much noises. That you want to get wet, so much noises, you cannot make a decision. But of course, not necessarily that. I mean, over time, over years, after you pay quite a bit of the tuition fees, maybe your decisions will be 80% right. You still get a 20% wrong. And just be accountable for the wrong decision that you make. It doesn't matter. And try not to give too many excuses also when you make that 20% wrong decision. It does not matter because nobody can challenge you on facts. I'm wrong. I make that decision and you just move on. Don't come up with excuses and reasons to try to sugarcoat it because, again, people out there are all fundamentally quite smart and you're not the smartest in the room. Even if you are, just say it as it is. But you cannot just stay above the cloud every single day. Then you don't need to eat. So you need to have that laser vision too, right? The eagle doesn't go fly around. Once they see something they want to go, you go for it. So there's still the nitty-gritty, because at the end of the day, the details are also important. And if you talk to my staff members, you will also know that there are some things that are just zero into the details. And that is also very important for the leader. Cannot every day is just above the cloud. One day you will die and fly, come down. That's probably the leadership.
Right, okay. The next one is from Arthur Koo. So, hey Ron, who's your role model in business and in life as a whole, and why?
I don't know. I love biographies, and I just like to my daughter will buy some books, and she bought Obama. I've not read yet. Anyway, so I do read. I do love biographies. And probably not so much who as a person as a role model. So when I started my company, BHE, I actually set a certain reference point, which company I want Cityneon to become, right? So initially it was Feld Entertainment, owned by Kenneth Feld, $1 billion. If you know Disney on Ice, either you watched it as a kid or you are a parent that put your kids there to watch it, right? So if you know Disney on Ice is owned by Feld globally. So they are in the live show business globally also. We are much more in the exhibition experiences business. So I use them as a reference point. But okay, can I be not too humble to say that today I think we're larger than them? So we have surpassed them. So last time also I used Cirque du Soleil. Cirque du Soleil is quite amazing. You think of Guy Lariberth, which was the founder of Cirque du Soleil. Just imagine, because you guys know Cirque du Soleil, right? Circus without and so on and so forth. But imagine 12 years ago, 13 or 14 or 15 years ago, Guy Lariberth, imagine you are an investor with $1 billion to spend. So Guy Laribert knock on the door, sit in front of you and say that, Ron or Arthur or whoever, right, Thiru, I want to do a circus. I want to create a circus without animal. You will say, just get out. What are you talking about? Because then circus was all about animals, about lion, about tiger, about a few dogs running around, and then the bears rolling around. Animals. And you want to create a circus without animal? And then you say, no. Beyond that, I want to have music, live singing in the circus. They must be thinking you're crazy. Then no. I want to sell CDs and merchandises at the end of the live show. I think that he will be chased out, and today he's a multi-billionaire. So don't rule out ideas too quickly. I mean, that is also probably one thing that I learned. I mean, everything's a process. And if we start to rule out ideas, I mean, today there won't be Facebook, there won't be Zoom. and I didn't even know Zoom exists until circuit breaker. So thank God for circuit breaker. Now I know how to use Zoom. Don't need to travel so far. So it's quite amazing. So let's don't rule out ideas. Let's don't make one feel that, oh, yours is a stupid idea. You are no smarter than anyone else. So I mean, anyone on the platform that wants to be an entrepreneur, I trust me, I don't even know how many rejections that I got. And I always remember that one of my mentors told me this, right? And trust me, I failed a lot of times. And it's failed beyond humanly possible sort of failure. So I remember someone told me this before, that life always offers you a second chance. Do you guys know what is that called? The second chance? It's called tomorrow. So know that tomorrow is always that second chance. And the way that we managed to put through that Avenger Station in New York is because of the existence of tomorrow. Every day is tomorrow. The hardest part is the night. The nights are the hardest part. When everyone is asleep, when you're alone, that is always the hardest part. But don't give up. Don't you give up. Because you know that dawn will always come. Day will come. The light will come. Then that is your tomorrow. That is your chance. So don't give up on the chance. Because I've been through that. I know you guys all can.
That's a great philosophy, Ron. So we move on to the next question by Eric. So Cityneon's in-licensed IP business is big. So are there plans to create your own IP?
How come you know?
Oh, so there is lah.
Yes, but I can also say that own IP is the hardest thing to do. You guys might know, you guys might not know. Marvel was bankrupt before. When Marvel was bankrupt, when it was acquired by Disney by $4 billion, $4 billion, mainly because of the IP that it created. It's all about, unfortunately, this world is about marketing. I mean, this world looks so big, but it's so small. You can name all the studios, Disney, Marvel, and many Americans some more, right? It's a very small world. Let me ask you today. Today I say Black Panther. What comes into your mind? Marvel, right? If I were to say Black Panther 5 years ago, the thing that comes into your mind is Singapore Zoo. You would think of Marvel. You wouldn't know that, unless you're a Marvel fan, you won't know that Black Panthers exist as a Marvel character. But marketing is able to shape our mind. So marketing is more important than the quality of the IP. Same goes for Ant-Man. I ask you, what is Ant-Man? You guys say, do you know what's Ant-Man? You say, of course I know what's Ant-Man. But if 4 years ago I asked you what is Ant-Man, you say, huh? What's Ant-Man? See, today the whole world knows what is Ant-Man. It's a bad. So everyone knows what is Ant-Man. So how marketing can get into your mind, subconsciously, consciously influence you. So IP is important, but it's very difficult. So I always, if you guys Google and read about me before, I used this term before. I like to stand on the shoulder of giant, because we're just too small. Even right now, when we list, we can be $2, $3 billion, $4 billion. We're still too small. Too small if you want to fight and you want to compete globally. You got to stand on that shoulder of giant until you become too heavy, and then the giant kick you away. They become a small giant yourself. Right? But stand on the shoulders of giants and try to find strong partner. Try to find that captive audience, because if you just want to roll the dice, you might succeed, but that is something that you want to think about. Creating own IP is easy, but it's difficult for it to be successful. We will do it.
Okay.
We will do it in a calculated manner. We'll do it in a calculated manner. Yeah, calculated manner. Oh, after IPO.
Okay. So Desmond says he feels enthusiasm in growing the experience business. Do you have any plans to list the company again?
I just said, yep, we do, but that is not my. I don't live to list a company. I delisted the company. For me, I live to run this company. I live to manage this company as a group CEO. But then, if I were to put on the hat as the executive chairman, the chairman of the board, I do have shareholders, I do have investors, and those are all very strong, kind maybe strong, professional, and able to provide that general corporate guidance for the company on that capital market side. So if the timing is right, if the valuation is right, then yes, we might list the company. There's no timeline to this. There's no timing to this. I know the press, the journalists wrote about that, but if we list the company, there must be for good reason. For us to need to access to more capital and to really make us even stronger and make us really that top go-to company in the whole world. Yeah. Venue-wise, we are not decided. I mean, as long as it's a major stock exchange, it can be Singapore, it can be Hong Kong, it can be US. Yeah.
Okay, so how do you see the future of the MICE business, especially in China and US market as well?
Okay, we are in the MICE business mainly because of the old Cityneon. Yeah? So Cityneon has been around 1956, like I said. They got into so-called the MICE business about 1970, and so I continue. I feel the world has changed. I mean, that's just my own personal view. I mean, how would I know, right? Even myself, in the past, I would travel even to the US and come back maybe in a week. Right now, we managed to raise, guys, $235 million over a Samsung TV in front of me. So life has changed. In the past, if you don't meet the person, you're very insincere. You got to meet the person. So I feel that the MICE business will continue, but I'm not sure that it will continue in the same way that it was before. So my own, if you ask me really candidly, I feel that it will shrink. It will shrink, and people still need to meet, because if you don't meet each other, it's very hard to build a relationship like this over the Zoom. I mean, I would prefer to be doing this, live physically in NLB, but this is the best platform right now. But anything that is quick, transactional, preliminary. The very beginning stage, you might not really need to make the travel. And I think one of the participants actually asked also, right? Yes, I believe that this will take a while. Regional travel will happen. US is crazy right now. The domestic travel, the flights are full. My guys are full. They're all full everywhere. So China, the domestic flights are also so busy. So they are huge enough and large enough to be self-sustainable. I feel that even in Singapore, regional travels will happen, but the long-haul leisure travel will take some time because people can probably do without, especially for families, especially if you have young kids, you will probably think twice or thrice about that leisure travel, right? But for if maybe you're single, you might be more daring, more willing to.
Okay, so that leads us to the next question by CG. Can you share the most memorable failure story and how you overcame it, and what did you learn from it?
Yeah, I think Avengers Station in New York, and the time when we started the company, we only have 4 people, and with 2 partners, one Australian and one American, 2 Americans, and we totally underestimated the scale of getting this done. And we were delayed. Again, if you have time later on, you just go to YouTube, you type Stanley. I met Stanley when he was 89 years old. The guy is just amazing. I have a photo at the back, and it's just amazing. He walked so fast. He walked faster than me at 89 years old. But he passed away at 95 years old. Right? So he loved the exhibit. We invited him to our opening, But we totally underestimated the scale of needing to get this thing to open. We couldn't. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if we said we're going to open, say, June the 1st, and we couldn't? And then we sent out all the party invite with Stanley's, with Marvel, with every Tom, Dick, Harry in New York to come to the party on May the 31st. So everybody came. And you go to the video. I mean, now I can joke about it, but then I was so scared. Think about it. And go to the video, look at the Stanley Forbes video, Avenger Station, New York. You will see Stanley taking the interview in the Iron Man's room. You know why? Now I can tell you, because we weren't ready. The whole Iron Man's room was a big mess. So we had the interview in the Iron Man's room. And then after the show, we shut the show. We shut the show. So all the marketing went to waste. And again, if you read one of the articles, I mentioned to the journalist too that the company was actually gone. It was totally gone. It was gone. It was over before it even began. I think it was also in the end of this speech. And that's probably the theme that I want to let you guys know. And how do I overcome it? The answer is, I don't even know. I don't know. It's all blessings. Man. And it's all strictly blessings. And what you need to do is just to keep going. Just keep doing. Just keep doing the right thing. You don't know. It's humanly impossible to overcome it. It's humanly impossible to be where we are today. And don't try to give ourselves any credit. I mean, we got to just keep going. You got to just keep going and going and keep doing it. But at the end of the day, you keep doing the right things. You keep going out to meet people. You just keep going and keep going and keep going. I promise you'll get out. If you are old enough, you know the Energizer Bunny TV commercial. The violence keep. I always see myself as that. You just keep drumming and drumming. And now you can laugh about it. Now you can think about the past and talk about it. But trust me, don't give up. Just keep going. And don't have to plan too much. And just, like I said, the tomorrow, remember? Night is always the hardest, but there's always tomorrow. Don't give up at night. Don't give up at night.
Right. Okay. So what are your business plans for Singapore? As Howard Ho sees, many of your exhibitions are overseas.
I wish I can bring to Singapore. You guys come out. You guys promise 130 of you will come. Singapore, we are so busy. Everyone, okay, now work from home, maybe you can go. Singapore is just so, we have too many things to do, right? And come and then cannot complain about ticket price, huh? Because you all complain about ticket price. In US, we charge high tickets. So we are very thrifty people, and Singapore is a very small market. And again, we only have that limited assets globally. And like I mentioned again, unfortunately for a Singapore company, we don't see Singapore, we just see the world as our market. And that is also important if you plan to really get into business. Never ever see Singapore as your market. Don't need to worry about what test-based ideas and what have you. You can test your ideas anywhere in the world, literally anywhere in the world. And then come back to your safe Singapore, live, enjoy our life here. So but on the other hand, stay tuned. There might be something really big soon here in Singapore.
Oh, okay, that's great. Okay, so Steve has this question on what's the toughest decision you had to make at Cityneon?
Yeah, I mean, it's always people, and it's always letting go of people. When you let go of one, you're letting go of that wife or the husband, the two kids, and how do you do that? I mean, that is always the hardest, right? I was let go when I was in corporate. It was a shock of my entire life. I was buying Starbucks. I was buying Starbucks when I was in Hong Kong. I was buying Starbucks when I was after my lunch. I was queuing up for my Starbucks double tall latte when my secretary then called me back to the office that the CEO was there, and I was in corporate then, and I was let go, and I was supposed to move back to Singapore. I mean, how do you deal with that? I know that because I've been through that. You need to look after your family. You have a housing loan. You have your car that you need to pay. You even got to pay for your damn flight back from Hong Kong to Singapore and the relocation back, right? They can give you your 6 months. They can give you your 3 months. They can give you all you want. And then the next day you wake up to what? And then you sit here, you listen to Ron, you tell me tomorrow, I just got let go yesterday. But you gotta still believe that there's a tomorrow because I've been through that tomorrow. Even when you got let go, you know what? Today I sit here, I laugh because I dare to laugh. That might be my plan. And I'm pretty confident if I wasn't let go then, I would not have started the business. So life is just believe, have faith and just believe, just keep going.
Okay, so we've come to the last question. So this is by Charles. So what are your values in life and what are the legacies that you like to leave behind?
Well, I mean, you hope to influence people in the right way. And I'm not a big fan. Don't get me wrong, legacy is good, but I'm not a big fan of legacy. And again, don't get me wrong. And if this sounds too morbid, don't get me wrong here. Like I say, like when it's time for me to meet my creator, to meet God, and we just go. And I mean, we don't have to worry about wakes and what have you, because people who matters to you will know. And who don't matter will know anyway. So legacy is probably not as important to me. Just want to enjoy our life every single day, do the right thing, and try to influence people in a positive way, and help along the way.
Okay, that's great. And thank you so much, Ron, for, truly an inspirational sharing, I must say, and very optimistic indeed. Yeah, I think we really enjoyed the session. Thank you so much.